Wintertime, dingy, colourless. Nature has almost retreated. The rivers are running high and coloured. You can often walk for miles on the riverbank without finding a single fish. But if you're persistent and put the time in, sometimes, if you're lucky enough, you can find a bar of gold beneath the murky waters. So as you can probably tell, today we are after winter barbel. Now the barbel is a very sought after fish here in the UK. Very, very hard fighting, possibly the hardest fighting freshwater fish we have. They give absolutely everything in the fight. Now these fish in the summertime aren't that hard to catch. The feeding habits are somewhat similar to carp. They feed along the bottom, sucking up snails and invertebrates and lifting small stones on the bottom to find the food. And they will move quite a lot up and down the river. But the moment wintertime comes, they head to the deeper areas, they move out of the shallows, and they become a little bit harder to find and very, very lethargic. They will almost barely move at all to find food, and you've got to put your bait in the right place at the right time in front of these fish to be able to have a chance of trying to catch one. So we're going to head down to the river now, search some areas. I've got a stretch of river that I basically almost never fish. I only fish it once or twice a year. So fingers crossed, I can put my watercraft knowledge into play and we might be able to get one or two. So there's a reason as to why I'm using more natural baits today, worms and maggots, and this is kind of it, I guess. The river right behind me burst its banks, came over into the adjacent fields, covered all this bank in here, loads of slop and stuff left behind, as you can see, and this washed a lot of natural food into the river system. And by that I mean, obviously, when the banks get full of water, the worms come out, they get washed into the river, and then the fish have got a constant food source during that flooded period. And we've got a perfect example of that just here now. This is some of the crap left behind from the floods, and all you have to do is dig through it a small way to start finding the worms and beetles and everything else that got washed into the river during the floods and kept these fish feeding. So instead of using the classic smelly baits that we would normally use in winter time, like meats and paste, I'm just going to be using natural baits because that's what they've been feeding on for probably the last month or so. Match the hatch, catch the fish. Oh, fish on, fish on. I'd literally just turned the GoPro on. I can't believe that. But this is an area where I normally find chub, so it wouldn't surprise me if it was a chub. Though saying that, it's holding that flow really well. If it is a chub, it could be a really big one. Or it could be the barbel we're after, which is what it feels like. Oh yeah, that's definitely a barbel, it's got to be. It's a really deep hole here, that's what we're looking for. It's a really deep hole, and there just happens to be a bit of a collapsed tree over on the far side, which has been washed down from the flood. I imagine that's probably come from upstream. And I can see with the polarized glasses just that it's all the branches that go down to the bottom right on the edge of the deep hole, and it's just perfect for barbel in these sort of conditions. Okay, this should be it now. Definitely feels like it's just coming straight up. Oh, his nose touched it and he turned away. There we go, he's done, he's done. Oh, we missed him again. Oh, every time he sees that net, he knows exactly what to do. Yep, we got it. That's a fantastic barbel. Fantastic fish. Just the worm on the corner of his mouth, can you see that? Beautifully hooked. Now, I'm not going to weigh it, but that fish is probably a barbel that is close to 10 pound, if not just about pushing 10 pound. Real chunky, really healthy, great condition. Just raising his dorsal fin for us now, look. That is an absolutely stunning fish. I haven't got any scales with me. If I had, I would weigh it. And if it was up to my estimation, I'd say it's about 10 pounds, maybe just over. Caught on a single red worm that I found in the soil on the bank. And that is what those fish have been feeding on. And that's all it took to get this beautiful river beast tamed really well. Now let's get her back. Look at this big brain move. Using me bank stick and rod holder to keep the net in place while that barbel rests. I really do need a long time to recover these river barbel. Guys, I could not be happier right now. My goal today, this session, was to catch one barbel, and I've just done it. I've only been fishing about an hour. I've tried a couple of other swims without anything, and I've only been in this swim for maybe 10 minutes, and the rod piled over with a beautiful fish. So my spirits are really high now, and where there's normally one barbel, there tends to be more. So I'm going to eat some food now, get myself some snap, put the rod back out there, fingers crossed, get one or two more. Oh, another one. Yes, feels like another barbel. It's got to be. Gone powering downstream. It didn't feel very big at first. I thought for sure it was probably a chub. I was saying that I thought the last one was a chub. It was slowly plodding upstream. Didn't put much of a bend in the rod at all. And just now it's rocketed downstream. I'm struggling to move it. So I'm going to assume we've got another barbel. It's a powerful fish, so I've just followed it. I've come about 10 yards, 15 yards down from my swim. It's a lower area. I should be able to land this one easier in this spot anyway. Let's tighten this drag up. I don't know why I'm playing it so loose. I'm just really scared. Freezing cold conditions, these fish are worth so much, you know. It's coming up now. Coming up. It's nice when you're pulling them up and you see that feeder appear and you know that you're nearly there. You can just see the worm right on the front of his mouth, taking it so delicately. Yes, yes. Oh, God, I love these barbel. Look at that. The worm right on the front of his mouth. They're taking it so delicately, and that is exactly what they're feeding on. Real nice, so cold. It's in a single worm. Once again, an absolutely stunning winter barbel. This one, a bit smaller than the last one. Probably about 6 or 7 pound. Really nice fish, and this one has some lovely coloration on it. It's got some black speckles on its fins and down its flanks and on its cheeks. Real beauty. And I can't believe my luck with this cold weather. I only expected one fish. This is awesome. For the rig itself, it's a very bog standard free running ledger rig. We have the large run ring with the clip, so we can quickly change between feeder or lead that's free running up the line, and below it we have a buffer bead that comes over the swivel, and then the hook length attached, which is a 2-foot length of 8 pound fluorocarbon with a barbless size 10 hook.
We've got a fish on. We've got a fish on. What a take that was as well. It's got to be a barbel. This has to be. It's my first cast out into the swim as well. Really impressed with that. Stepped up my gear because there is some extra water coming down. Normally in winter I fish about £8 down to £6 for the barbel on this river when it's low and clear, but because it's up still and there's a lot of water pushing through, I'm fishing £10 down to £8 just to give me enough backbone to be able to bully these fish in a little bit better in the flow, stop them from going any underwater snags that might be down there. It's coming, we nearly got it now. It's right in front of me. Yep, there's my feeder, there's my feeder. Oh, it's a nice one too. Come on, yes, 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 yes.
Now would you look at that for a beautiful winter barbel. It's a fish of probably about maybe £7, and it was the first cast in this swim. It's a deep hole just along the far bank, feeder full of ground baits and maggots, and just a single worm on a size 10 hug, and it was hooked just in the skin on the front of the lip. Good job I didn't play it too hard because it could have torn. Landed beautifully. This is what I was after today, but on a really cold winter's day too. Guys, I was going to go home after I caught that last barbel. The GoPro ran out of power. It was time to go, but on the way back I've spotted a couple of chub. And what a great way to end the session would that be, to end on a lovely chub. So I'm going to have a few casts. I've unclipped the lead off the line. I'm just going to free line a couple of maggots, and fingers crossed I can get one of these fish to end the session. Yep, we got it. We got it. Guys, what an end to an already fantastic session. We've caught 3 barbel today. I only expected, if I was lucky, to catch maybe 1. It was freezing cold last night. We had ice on some of the still waters this morning, and I just didn't expect much action at all. 3 barbel, biggest one probably around £10, and we've just ended it on a perfect little note with getting a beautiful winter river chub as well. Just saw this little guy as I was walking past on the way home, and I had to have a cast with a 3-line bunch of maggots. I took it on the second cast. If you want to, feel free to subscribe, like the video if you liked it, and I'll catch you guys later.